Anything can happen Friday. The art and cultural side of Southeast Asia.
Hi, welcome back to Triana ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. You're still with us at Anything Can Happen Friday. And of course, I've been having this conversation with Laxmi Bomb, band from India. So let's get on to a bit more serious topic, music as a career and some other challenges that they have been facing so far. We have invited a few bands to talk about the mindset when it comes to doing music as a career. But let's have a more conversation with them under this topic. Talking about mindset, right? Generally, the Asian parents will be a bit taken back, or I want to say against, but they're a bit more concerned when it comes to their children doing music, how they can sustain their living or how they can have a regular income.
That's a true thought of Asian parents. But the scene, like at least back in India, is a little evolved in terms of independent music.
Right.
So you can have a career path where you can only play music and basically survive out of that. And you can also possibly juggle between both. You can have like an alternate career happening in the day and another one happening in the night, and you can still survive. So it's the challenge is only when it comes to real independent music, when you start something like a project like this and you're able to continue it with the same passion and effort right from day one till whatever day it continues to, because the challenge even for indie artists is that you can't just do this. If you just want to do this, you gotta have an alternate income coming from somewhere else, which means you need to have a day job, or you need to be a sessions artist, and play with different bands and stuff. So that's a challenge in itself, right? Because we had a guy in our band, he used to play bass, so he chose to do this full time, with the intention of being able to give 100% to music. But in that whole scene of only being able wanting to play and not having a job and stuff, now he's only been playing sessions and doing live gigs with other guys, and gigs like ours. So he's not able to give full attention to one band, as a so it becomes difficult in that manner. Like the four of us survived that, so we're able to juggle some bit of alternate income from somewhere else. So we're able to continue this as a sacred thing.
That's really coming from your experience in this music industry. How about you? You seem to have a lot of thoughts. Could you share with us?
The thing is where I come from, and as a DJ, that's how I started. So it took good 7 years to convince my mom and dad, because they had no clue, what I'm doing basically as a DJ. What does a DJ means? So it took 7 years, and how that happened is when they, saw me on television. That's the time when I had to explain it to them, see, this is what I do. So what? You make people dance. So they started laughing. So I said, yeah, that's what I love to do. So how? What's the source of income? I said, yeah, I make them dance, and then, I get paid by the owners when they make business. Yeah, it's really difficult, and to survive, I've been doing music full time, nothing else but just music. And to survive, it's really difficult because, point one, there's a lot of competition, and to survive, you have to be good. And I think we are in that process of getting better and better, and for sure, one day, good.
It's really good to hear the positive vibe from him, coming from the very experienced guy in this music industry. But could you also share in music scene in India from generation to generations? I'm sure you've seen some changes in the music, or am I wrong?
So DJing, yes, I've been DJing for many years, and back in those days it was just CDs. So very, very few, very limited music for DJs to spin and to educate people. The best part where I come from is music. Earlier, music industries used to actually come up with CDs, singles, and give it to the DJs and ask them to play.
Right.
Now that doesn't happen because it's all easy available, internet. So it's really, it again becomes difficult. So it's like a challenge again. Oh, if I'm doing this, am I doing it right, or is it going to stand out? It's difficult. In short, I would just say that it's really difficult to survive. but it's a challenge.
So how did you accept when this band was formed and you were part of the band to be able to blend your sound in it?
Okay, when it comes to blending, I mean, I really focus on dance music.
Right.
When it comes to beats. So while Levin, I mean, if he's throwing in a melody first, so once I get the melody, I start, programming rhythm, so where I can, make people dance. So that's my main focus, basically. So my contribution towards the band is rhythm.
I see. How about you as a keyboardist? And you mentioned that you do play quite a lot of jazz, influenced by the R&B and...
Yeah, so we did this one track which is called Love Day Loot. So that was more of a electronic arrangement initially, but then I added like different elements of orchestral music, like strings and a bit of flute, etc., and made it like a bigger sounding kind of a sound that has electronic as well as orchestral music with piano, etc. So my job, I would think, would be like an enhancer to basically get the whole sound out, or maybe filling the sound that is kind of empty, that is not yet, like, we have like a certain visualization of how a sound should be, and until we've not reached that point, we don't stop.
Right, that sounds very good. But then, are you from the music school, or how did you gain all those knowledge when it comes to sounds?
So basically, it's part like I have like, my teacher is a classical teacher. I've learned a lot of classical from her, but then whatever jazz studies I've done is by myself, like seeing different artists, etc., and just following them, just trying to know what they are doing, basically.
Interesting. So let's move on a bit further outside of India. When it comes to ASEAN, we are talking about 10 nations in the Southeast Asia country. And India is exceptionally a good partner to ASEAN. But let's narrow down from there. The music scene here, how do you see the music scene from India to Southeast Asia? How would you want to expand yourself, or even to introduce your colleagues or friends in India to expand themselves to Southeast Asia?
First instinct, I might be shooting myself for saying this, but India is slightly more evolved in terms of a market, in terms of...
and it's got a huge population there.
It's a huge population, a lot of influx of Westerners. So the music scene right now, at least at first hand, what we felt was... at least in the Southeast Asian belt, I mean, I can't even speak for the entire belt because we've only been to Malaysia, and now that too we've only been here for 4 days now. This is our 4th day, but within 4 days we've seen 3 gigs, and that too from a very underground. We've come from a very underground tour right now. We went to 3 venues and we saw the scene out there, and it was basically that kind of a scene was what was thriving in India, at least in Bombay, in say 2003 to 2000.
2000, yeah.
Yeah, it's the early 2000s.
That's quite long ago.
Yeah. So we are come here and we're seeing an early 2000 scene.
Oh, right.
So for us, it was almost like a throwback, like, and I'm not saying this in a derogatory manner, I'm not saying this in a judgmental manner, but for us, it was almost like revisiting the entire thing.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't happen there right now.
Yeah.
You don't get like this kind of a scene.
How is the scene there then, now?
It's... is
it more progressive and more innovative?
It's not progressive. It's just trying to keep pace with the Western side of it.
I see.
And I'm sure if you go to London and if you go to the Americas, you'll see a much more higher standard. Standard in terms of everything, in terms of the production, in terms of the stage where the music is, in terms of the music production, the live event production. The entire organizational
programming,
the frequency of gigs happening,
the frequency
like
of
daily,
gigs,
weekly,
just the entire music scene overall. So we felt that maybe Malaysia is not yet picked up yet.
I see.
But having said that, we are here in Kuala Lumpur and we've not yet tasted Kuala Lumpur. So this is the big. So this is before Kuala. So this is all the adjoining areas. So we have not yet seen Kuala Lumpur, and we are very, very keen to see what the entire thing is all about.
All right, so we'll carry on this conversation after this short break to talk about more gigs and expectation from Southeast Asia. You're now listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.